All right. Hey, everyone. It is March 10th. Welcome to our Balanced Life Forever Pack Business Call. We have Angie Christen tonight, and I'm so excited. Jen and I were able to meet Angie at Celebration last year, and Jen was nice enough to bring me in the back for the share the shot of the Start 1000 group. And so we got to meet Angie there and connect with her. And it's just such an example of Isagenix, right, Angie, where you meet people who just are just so giving. And I've talked to Angie a couple of times. She's not affiliated with our team. She's on Emily Vavra's team, but she is amazing and willing to chat and share wisdom and encouragement. And it's just been really great. So she said she'd come on our call tonight and share some information. And so let me just tell you a little bit about Angie. Angie, let me know if I've got anything wrong here.
Okay.
So Angie's from Minnesota, and she is an expecting mama. She just told us she's 30 weeks. Yay! So that baby's coming soon. Her and her husband, Dustin, are six-figure earners, and they're in the Start 1000 group, guys. So she's going to talk a little bit tonight in more detail than I think we brought up before about the Start 1000 group. So she has, that she's earned six figures residually in a year to get into that group. She's qualified for multiple incentive trips, paid all of her student debt, right, which is absolutely amazing. So Angie's got a marketing background. Now she's doing Isagenix full time, and she's got a rockstar team, of game-changing world leaders. So I'm really excited for you to share with us tonight.
Awesome. You got everything right. That was all accurate. Yes, Minnesota girl here, born and raised. Do you want me to just kind of start off by just sharing a little bit about my story and how?
Yeah, if you want to, I'd love to know how I know that you were introduced to Isagenix when you were 22, right? Which is amazing. So yeah, if you want to start with that, and then I'd love to know if you, or when it was that you kind of got the vision for sharing this and building a business.
Yeah, totally. Cool. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for having me on tonight. Like Crystal had mentioned, yeah, we met about a year ago. Well, actually, how long ago is that now? A year and a half now? Whatever. Yeah. We'll see each other again in July, right? In Salt Lake City. Yes. But I got started with Isagenix almost 6 years ago now. So I got started when I was 22 years old. And like Crystal had shared, I had a marketing background. I had just got my first big girl job in corporate America, and I was really struggling with my energy levels. So that's where kind of Isagenix came into things for me, because I was coming home, binge watching Netflix. I was just napping, not eating well, anything like that. So Isagenix came in, and as a lot of people say, it only took about 4 days, honestly, for me to feel a difference. And that's when we jumped in. My husband and I, we weren't married at the time, but we jumped in with both feet with the business right away, because we saw, like you had mentioned, we're part of Emily and Hayden's team. My husband played football with Hayden in college, so that's how we were introduced there. But we saw what they were doing with their life and how they were kind of catapulting. At that time, the START movement had just started. And they were just like running with it, and we're like, what are they doing? We need to know what's going on. So not only was this something that was helping me with my energy levels right away out the gate, we saw the vision honestly right away. And it took, we kind of like really hit the ground running. And I can get a little bit of into that too here in a little bit later, but we just went after it, honestly, you guys. And that's what I love about kind of the START community, if we want to kind of highlight that a little bit more this evening, is that we all kind of just come around each other and just know this. Maybe if you're not in the START, or if you are, regardless of where you're at, like just know that this community is no different than anything else. It just seems to be something that's very tight knit, and we're all ready to kind of lift each other up and go. And it took, let's see, actually, I went to my first event 2 weeks after getting enrolled. And I think that was a huge catapult in our business. And that was an Isagenix University. And then honestly, we went to Celebration 3 months later, and we went to a UIA about 6 months later. So this tone that was set for us was get ingrained and get involved in the community, and your business will skyrocket. So if you haven't been to any of those types of events already, that's something that you need to do, because your confidence is going to build in that sense. And so we just kind of hit the ground running right away. And we haven't really looked back. About 3 years ago, I went full-time, so I do have a marketing background. I went full-time Isagenix about 3 years ago, which has been such a blessing, which has allowed us now to start a family, because I did want to be the one that was going to be home raising my own child. That was something that was huge for my husband and I. We wanted to make sure that that was something that we could do. And it's just been so fun along the way to be helping other moms do the same thing. So I've been learning from a lot of moms on our team how to find balance in that. And I'm hoping that I can transfer that into what assumed is going to be a very chaotic life for me, I'm sure. Yeah, about 3 years ago, I went full time, and it's just been such a fun ride. So I guess, is there anything specifically you want to ask?
No, well, that's awesome. I love hearing how people, get started. If obviously you have to be a product of the product and love the products, but some people, jump in for the business and some people don't. So right. I was just going to read the start vision for people that don't know about it. And maybe you could share a little bit about, how, if we have people on this call who are 18 to 35 and they just they've never heard of it, they want to tap into it, just maybe what that would mean for them. Sure. How that would support them, whether it be product wise or business wise, or what that would mean. But the START vision, everyone, in case you don't know, is to ignite all young people to own their lives physically and financially, and through our contributions, create freedom and a lasting legacy. So it's kind of like, Jen and I were talking about this, I'm 41, so I missed it. But even talking to Jen, who's 5 years younger than me, there's just a whole different feel. I think that, the 40 plus, we still kind of have that office like grind mentality. And it's just so awesome that this new, group of people are coming through and just thinking differently. So yeah, tell us a little bit about the START program specifically, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I think the number one thing that really sticks out for me and why it's growing so fast and how to kind of speak to it is that where else can someone so young, like I said, I got started when I was 22, kind of take that ownership in themselves and have a place to grow and really make something for themselves. So whatever that looks like for them, if they're, looking to travel, if they're looking to pay off their student loan debts like my husband and I did. We had over almost $70,000 of student loan debt that we've been able to pay off since starting Isagenix. It's just such a great place to just like create a better version of yourself. And when you're so young, you're very, what's the word? Let's see. I feel like you're really influenced by what's going on around you. And here is a place that you can really take what you feel strong in your heart, whether that be that contribution that a lot of us are really kind of striving for, helping people around the world. I don't know if any of you follow the Start Your Life Instagram page, but just everything that we're doing with contribution for building that school or that home in Africa. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check it out afterwards. But there's just this community of, I want to see you win. And that's what START is all about, is just taking people that are younger and maybe not taken as seriously and help them build something for themselves to create that legacy for a lifetime. And a good place, like I said, the Instagram page is a really good place to stay plugged in, regardless if you're in START or not. That way you can stay on top of what's going on in that type of community. And then also obviously startyourlife.com has so many good resources for training for the start demographic, for anyone really. But if you want to plug someone in that is in that age group, that's a really good resource for them to just kind of get amped up, get excited, hear other people's stories that are in the same kind of realm as them. I love both of those, but I think the coolest part is that it literally allows them to take ownership of what they want to do, because I find, as now that I've been doing this for 6 years, is that when I got started at the age of 22, kind of fresh out of college, a lot of my college friends were like, oh, you know, I got my degree, I'm gonna do my thing. I went to school for it, which heck yeah, you wouldn't spend a lot of money on it, but you're gonna find very quickly that there's something missing usually. And for me, I was in corporate America, and having that recognition that happens all throughout Isagenix, but also in the START group, was huge, that a lot of people don't get at their regular day-to-day jobs. And then just the opportunity to literally create whatever it looks like for them is just so empowering, I feel like.
Yeah, I've met a few new grads and talked with them, and literally they're like, I'm just putting in my time, you know, and I just want to be like, oh my gosh, it doesn't have to be that way. Right. But I think that's a lot of our mentality. I don't know, I'm sure a lot of people on this call have felt this, and if not, they probably will at some point in building their business. But you and I talked briefly about being taken seriously as a young person in a network marketing company. So, you know, whether it be family or friends who are like, what are you doing, right? Mm-hmm. How can you speak to that a little bit for us?
Yeah, I think it kind of comes back to, and I alluded to it a little bit earlier, but like really working on your own belief. I actually had a very bad taste in my mouth about network marketing when I first started, because I have a marketing background, and like, why would I go do network marketing, right? That's just how I was. But I think creating that belief in yourself, and all that really takes is just having potentially a leader or someone speak life into you honestly, and show you that you are capable. So building the belief in yourself, and a lot of times how that happens, at least it was for us, is we needed to attend events. And I said that 2 weeks in, we went to, I have a little note here. Literally, I went to all the core 4 within the first 8 months of getting started. So I went to my first Isagenix University 3 weeks in. I went to Celebration 2.5 months in. 4 months in, I went to UIA, and then a Super Saturday and an NYKO, all within the first 8 months. And we were not financially in a good place. I mean, I was 22, fresh out of college, right? But I knew, and I was told, so if you are on here and you haven't been to an event, honestly, do whatever it takes to get to the next event, because that is literally going to help you build your belief in yourself, in the company, in network marketing, in the compensation plan, whatever it is that you're not a 10 out of 10 in, it will help you build that. And the more that you can believe in yourself and what you are trying to share with people, because like most of us have, we started with a really great product experience, and we can feel it in ourselves, but we're not sure how to portray that to people in the world, right? So once you build that belief in all of those areas, you're like unstoppable, honestly. And no matter what someone that maybe is talking down to you because you're younger, or they think that you don't know, it won't matter, because you know what you have, and that's all that matters, because there will be the people that are looking for that, and those will be the people that will come into your life, or that you'll find, and you'll be able to help them. And I think second is just having that posture, and you can't really have the posture in that until you feel confident in it. But like, posture from the way that you walk into the room and the energy that you bring to the room. Not necessarily like have your shoulders back, but yes, that also is very helpful to feel confident. But like, how do you come into a conversation? Are you kind of like, hey, yeah, I got this thing, I don't know, you might not like it? Or are you coming in like, oh my goodness, like this has completely changed how I sleep at night, my energy levels, like I'm feeling amazing and I know this could be helpful for you. You know, it's like that posture is going to take you from being this, for me, this 22-year-old to, heck, like what is this? Like she's like convicted in what she is doing and what she knows, like, hey, maybe I should take a look at it. So at that point, if your belief and your conviction and your posture is there, people are going to at least take a listen, honestly. And then show them that you really like mean business. Like you have to stay consistent, whether that be on your social media, whether that be being a product of the product. You just have to stay consistent in what you're putting out there, because we all know, we've probably all seen it, people that maybe are in different network marketing or even in Isagenix that kind of come and go. You see them for going hard for 3 months and then they ghost out for like 2 months. You're like, is their business even open? We don't know, right? So just staying consistent in your messaging and how you're living your life. Are you portraying that healthy lifestyle? Are you portraying, you know, what it is that you're trying to help people with, because otherwise people aren't going to know that that's available. So I think staying consistent in your messaging, so that people know that you're taking it seriously, because there are a lot of people that do join network marketing companies and they do it for like 2 months and then they stop. So people don't think, a lot of times people associate network marketing with just like, okay, I'll see if you're doing that in 2 months. Like you're not going to actually help me. Where like, if you're going to stand firm, and once you have your belief, you stand firm in it, you're 10 out of 10 and everything, you're in it for the long haul. I know Emily Baver was doing a call with us last night, and she's like, commit to being on auto ship for 7 years. If you want to build this, and that might sound like a lot, you guys, but ultimately you're taking care of your body. Like this is nutrition, it's food, it's fine. Like just commit to being on auto ship for 7 years and be consistent and do the do, and honestly it will all come. People will continue to take you seriously, but I think a lot of it starts with taking yourself seriously and making sure that you work on yourself. But that also doesn't mean to not build. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't mean like, oh, I need to be a perfect 10 out of 10 out of everything before I even share it with anybody. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying work on yourself. While you can earn while you learn. You know, we've all heard that, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. I had a question about, and I think you kind of answered it, but Jen and I were talking about, you know, businesses ebb and flow, right? Life gets busy or you get distracted or whatever it might be. And, you know, what gets you back in the game? What keeps you motivated? And it obviously events, right? It's being plugged in. I know team calls, you guys do a team call every week. What other thing, first 2 questions. So is there anything else that you would recommend if somebody is feeling unplugged or feeling unmotivated? You know, what would you recommend to somebody on your team who's just like, I want to get back into this. I just don't know. You know, that feeling.
Yeah.
And then the second part, I can ask you again, but what do you do on a regular basis for your team? I know that you have a product call and a team call. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about that.
Sure. Yeah, staying plugged in, honestly. So I see people do this all the time where they'll be on the call, and then they won't be there for a while, and then I'll get a message like, I don't feel it, like something's missing, like how do I get plugged back in? A lot of times I ask them to revisit your goals. Obviously understand why were you doing this in the first place, and I think that those need to be in the forefront all the time. But a simple one would be like to do a cleanse. Honestly, remind yourself why you love the products. Like do a good 2-day cleanse, and just remind yourself why you absolutely love it. Would be one good one. And then find someone that maybe you've helped in the past and reach out to them and see if there's anything that you guys can do together. Like try to provide value to somebody else, because we all know how good it feels to help somebody else, right? And then once you get that, like, oh gosh, yeah, like I just helped them answer a question, and you're like, it makes you want to go and do more, right? So I think obviously staying plugged into the calls, we all know when they are, right? Like you have to, that's where a mentor is never going to be the thing that's going to get you motivated again. It has to come from within. So reminding yourself why you started in the first place and having it be in the forefront. So your vision board, sticky notes, wherever. Do a cleanse, you know, or really, I think pouring into somebody else always reinvigorates me. And that can be as simple as a check-in with somebody that you can go in your back office and see that they're an active user and just be like, hey, I just wanted to see how you're doing. And they're gonna like that conversation is gonna light you up again, and maybe give you enough energy to make sure that you get on the next call, right? So I think it's really simple, but it's easy to not do as well. But I think that would be my biggest thing. Or even as simple as posting in one of your product pages, and just try to add value wherever you can so that you can get that feeling back from people commenting on it and engaging with it. Oh yes, I do provide value. People do need me to be engaged. My team needs me. Because ultimately, like, you enroll one person and you're a leader. You don't need to be an executive. You don't need to be like, you have one person that you've helped get started. You're their leader. They need you to guide them, right? And then what do we do for calls? Is that what it was?
Yeah. So what do you do for your team, just to like on a weekly basis? If you're kind of like, okay, this is me as a business builder, what does that look like?
Yeah. So we have, within our team, we have our own weekly business training that we do every Wednesday. And then we have the ones that we plug into that Emily and Hayden do as well. Right now, we are actually in the middle of, we're calling it a spring cleaning, clean up your unhealthy habits in your pantries. So I'm really engaged with our coaches right now. So the people that are posting workouts and everything in there. But honestly, I have it right, my big post-it note over here. I have my Mondays and I have exactly what I need to do on my Mondays. And a lot of times I like to plan posts and stuff for our business page and things. So I have my Monday schedule, and I have a Monday team call that we have with Team VisionCast. And then Tuesdays, I'm checking in and making sure that everyone is being supported, getting their reach outs in. Wednesdays is our team call. Thursdays, recognition and making sure that everyone feels recognized on the team, people that are crushing it. And then on the weekends, it's kind of like a free-for-all, honestly, calls. That's a lot of times that's when people have time. Like tonight, I have another call after this with a person that had fallen off. She still has an account 3 years and she wants to build a business now. So it's like, you just got to, I just really, a lot of my work does go in the evenings, even though I'm full-time, because you have to assume most people are working their regular job during the day. So I do a lot of the back end stuff at home during the day. So just getting, any content that I can help put out into the team, educational stuff like that. And then in the evening, I'm doing a lot of calls and things like that. So, but yeah, so we have a business page as well as a product page. And just depending on the types of things that we have going on, like I said, we have our, right now we're doing a 2-week spring cleaning that we're doing right now, which I think is really great. And I think you guys have done things like that in the past too, where it's just a really good way to get people re-engaged. And that
I love because a lot of people don't think that they can post in those pages unless they are, a leader of some sort, which again, we're all leaders, but I encourage people all the time. I think that's so important, because once you feel like you can participate in that kind of thing, that just leads to more things, right? So
totally. And the people that you bring in, once again, if you only enroll 1 or 2 people, you are a leader and they want to see you posting in there. They want to see you engaging in the post too, because that gives them permission subliminally to also engage with it, because the more that someone's engaged, the higher the retention is going to be, right? So if they're seeing that you are engaging on those posts and that you're providing value, it's going to encourage them to do the same and have them feel comfortable to ask questions when they need them. And sometimes they resonate better with somebody else. Then I help a lot of people that I don't personally enroll that are like 6 PET, because they resonate better with me than they do the person that enrolled them on the team. And like, it comes back to, we're all one team, right? That's even while we're doing these calls tonight, it's like, do what you can to just lift somebody up. And yeah, those pages are huge for just really creating that community within there. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So we have a few minutes left. Since you said you're going to jump on a business call with somebody who wants to start, what is that going to look like, Angie? If I was your enrolled and I came to you and I said, hey, I think I want to give this a try, what are the first steps? What would you be telling me to do? And what would that look like?
So I actually messaged her, and before we got on the call, I was like, okay, I want you to come onto the call, just because she has been in Isagenix. She had used the products about 3 years ago, and she's been watching in the team, but she hasn't been active, right? So I was like, I want you to come onto the call with an idea of what you want your goal to be, because she did share with me that she's due in July with a baby as well, and her and her husband are talking about possibly having her not go back to work, and she needs to get going if she's gonna, she wants to have Isagenix be a supplemental income for them. And I was like, okay, I want to know what that number looks like for you. What's going to be that number that's going to be making it worth it for you to do this? So like, I think that's always a really good question is, and even what I just learned at IUA, the University in Action this past weekend, is like, what is that number so that you guys, so that we can help people truly break down their goals to achieve that, right? So I asked her to come with her goal in mind. And I also asked her to figure out what her timing will be like. So how much time she's going to be able to commit to it so that we can figure that out. So I actually we have our version of like the new associate interview that I'll be going through everything with that with her. So if you guys don't know what that is, do you guys share that with your team?
Yeah, we can post that too in where to find that.
Yeah, that's a really good resource, because it's going to ask her, obviously I want to know what her, even though she wants the business, right? I'm still going to ask her what her health goals are, because ultimately we need to be a product of the product. And she needs to be reminded of how to speak to the products, because if she's been inactive for a while. So we're going to go over that, figure out her first launch party. We're going to get that scheduled. And ultimately, I think it's going to be more me picking her brain, because I actually don't know her. She is someone that's about 5 or 6 PET. And I've never actually had a conversation with her before. So I think it's going to be more, I need to just figure out what her goals are so that I can then move her forward. But what I will definitely end up having her do is figuring out her launch party, whether it be in person or virtual, it doesn't matter right away. Have that scheduled. We'll get her first social media post back going, scheduled or figured out, and then get her kind of in a schedule for what she's going to do on a day-to-day basis, whether that be 3x3x3, whatever that looks like for her, for what she has time for right now. But that's where I'm going to go from there. We'll see how much she already knows, I guess.
And I love this, because we hear this so much, and so many people think it's so difficult and it's so complicated. And even me, 2 years in, I'm like waiting to hear something new. Like, what's the magic? And it's just this stuff over and over again. It's actually very refreshing that every leader we've talked to is saying the same thing, that it's not, it's not hard. You just have to reach out to people. So awesome. I love that. I love it. Well, let me see. We have 1 minute left to hit our half hour. You're so awesome. Is there anybody, let's see, Jen, have you been watching the chat? I don't know if there's any chats, if anybody, no, we're good so far. Does anybody want to, I can unmute everyone. Does anybody have any questions? Or Jen, do you have any questions before that we didn't cover?
No, this is all awesome. Thank you so much for just pouring your heart and giving more tips and suggestions to everyone else. I think it's so powerful, like you said, to hear from other people firsthand on what they're doing. And I love the age diversity that Isagenix brings. I think it's awesome that you got started on this journey when you were 22 and you've been, through that. And it really excites me to see where you are. And, like with a baby on the way and having the flexibility and time freedom, I love to support moms and people that know in the future they want to have, that flexibility. So thank you for sharing this, because I'm excited to share this with, new moms, future moms, and so forth, so they know that there's other things that they can do.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah, if anybody else I see JoJo and Wendy just on my screen here. If anybody else has a question real quick, feel free to unmute yourself. We'll give it a second or two. Great, we answered everything.
Awesome, right?
Awesome, Angie. Well, thank you so much. I just love talking to you, and we will definitely have to get together when we're in Utah.
Definitely.
Sure.
Yeah, and you guys, honestly, so let me just close with this, because a little bit about celebration. When I was at the University in Action this past weekend, which there is one coming up, are most of the people that are on the line more so on the East Coast, or people everywhere?
Yeah, everywhere, but I guess everywhere, not really. Everywhere.
That is like a game changer of an event. If you have not been to one, it had been almost 6 years since I had been at one. And it is like so good. So either that one, like get to that one, but obviously Celebration coming up in July is going to be amazing. And corporate reminded us this past weekend that the tickets are only like $200, and they literally, if they were to actually break it down, it's over $600 per ticket is what Isagenix invests in it, you guys, and they only charge us $2. Like, the amount of value that you can get from going to these, they literally lose money every time they host one of these events, because they want to make sure they're pouring into you, making it affordable for the average family to be able to attend these, so that you can really grow and skyrocket with this business and take with what you learn and do what you can. But like 200 versus 600, you guys, like, you have to go. Like, the value is like crazy. So yeah, I'm super excited to see you guys in July. Our little boy will be with. He'll be like 7 weeks old. We're gonna be those crazy parents that people are like, oh, are you sure you want to bring that little baby with? I'm not gonna miss it, so we'll be there.
Awesome. I can't wait to meet him.
All right, well, thanks again for having me on. You guys have a wonderful rest of your week.
You too. Thanks so much, Angie. I really appreciate it. All right. Have a great, there's Chase. Have a great night.
She's like, bye. Look at it.
Bye.